believe it or not, you probably will believe it, but this morning I woke up, walked out of my bedroom, looked on my counter, and this was actually on my counter from my girlfriend.
Evil Goods, baby. So she shops on TikTok.
100%. And I thought that was the most crazy synchronicity from the universe that we had this podcast planned. Never mentioned it to her, never told. She has no idea who you are.
Getting a lot
And it
of
was
those
holy
lately.
shit.
Yeah.
So I asked her how she found that. And she said it's a really trendy product. It's like proven to be like the best face care, beating all the other face care routines. And she saw it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
She looked at the comments, and that's what everybody recommended. And so pretty crazy that I have one of the founders.
Bro, let's put it like this. Like, fastest way to create like more generational internet wealth in today's world. There's like a window here where TikTok equates to your first time buyers, Amazon equals your repeat buyers, and private equity will pay you 20x however many repeat buyers you have. And that formula in a nutshell is creating enterprise value with like CPG brands, physical product brands. It's a level that I just like haven't seen ever, since I've been on the internet. Of like, we launched that 3 months ago, and in month 3 we did $1 million in very profitable revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, when you do $1 million month 3, you're pouring it all back into inventory and whatnot, but we're talking 30-40% margin on a company that is brand new.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the virality of TikTok. It's the short form discovery, and it's sad not enough people are like aware of this, because everyone on the internet's like, this is how you make money, follow me to make money, da da da. And we're going to look back at this window as like, oh, this is Amazon FBA again in 2024. So I started Amazon in 2013, back before anyone was talking about it, when like you could just really blow shit up with, very little money. And we're getting that again.
And so you mentioned 2 things. You have to get eyeballs, and you have to get repeat buyers. I think a lot of people look past the repeat buyers, but let's start with eyeballs. This is not something that you started with a big audience or you pushed through a YouTube or personal brand or whatever. This is something that you started organically, and then you just went out and did the hard work. But TikTok Shop has made it quite easy, it seems. And so could you just give me a high level of, you launched that 90 days ago. What was the initial marketing plan, and how did you action it?
So we have a playbook with TikTok. You don't need to spend money on ads. That algorithm is like discovery based. All right. So people think of social media like Instagram, YouTube, you're building your follower count, you're building your subscriber count. TikTok, they don't care. If you have 200,000-300,000 followers on TikTok and you don't post for a while, the account's basically dead. You can have a brand new account on TikTok, post a video, and get 10 million views. Like that happens all the time. So our strategy is really manipulating that. This actually started on one of your original interviews, Oliver Brocata, Tabs Chocolate.
Classic.
This was kind of the pioneer of this strategy, where he goes, hold on, I can get 20 kids to make Tabs Chocolate accounts. It doesn't matter if it's leading to any specific brand page. These kids are just going to post a piece of content optimized for TikTok and sales every single day. And if 20 of them make a video and 2 of them go viral, this pays for itself 1 million times over. And so that, in a nutshell, is the strategy. We have 40, 50 different creators that are educated on the brand. Like, we give them a brief. They know how to make content that works in the algorithm, and we set them loose. That's like the basis of our playbook. I still have like a whole, Amazon background where what happens if you're going viral on TikTok, you're selling in retail, you're selling on Amazon, people are coming to your website, they're Googling you. TikTok is changing the world in terms of discovery. Like, that is where people are now going to find new ideas. It's not just physical products. Like, when we go to a restaurant, in a different city, my wife looks up TikTok. She wants to see it. And that's how they operate in Asia, and that's what's happening here. And we're just fortunate to be at the forefront of it on the brand side.
Interesting. Okay. So I guess is it cool if we go through like why you chose, what you were looking for when you chose this product? Because like I had never heard the word beef tallow before.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like such a strange word, strange concept, foreign to me. And so why did you choose the product that you chose in the first place?
So that was all my partner, Jake. He's very interested in like holistic wellness, and kind of Jake Tran, he makes videos on what scams are, and got kind of down the rabbit hole of like how bad skincare stuff is. And turns out just natural beef tallow is like a really good hydrating, repairing alternative. And so that was kind of his genesis. Now, there's 2 ways to think about, like, if we're talking about launching a brand from scratch and what products to go after and what ideas to build with, you can find something that has like some viral tailwinds, Or in my opinion, with this era, you can popularize damn near anything from scratch. And that sounds like outlandish, especially in like the drop shipping world, right? You're supposed to match demand to what's there. But if you think about it, so many ideas have blown up because they purely have enough reach. Like even political ideas. If you say something enough, it eventually becomes true. And so you've seen brands over the years buy that same concept, right? You pay enough celebrities. Kim Kardashian eats the weight loss gummies and all of a sudden those work, right? It cost the brand $3-4 million, but because it was seen by so many people, it becomes truth. And so what happened with TikTok, if you're finding a way to go viral, something like beef tallow, because we were kind of the first to pop off. It was starting to trend up on Amazon, but we probably have gotten 100+ million views in the last 30 days on TikTok, really just by knowing that algorithm. So we've kind of taken it to a whole nother level of like what's true, what is. That's where the dropshippers go, oh, this beef tallow thing is like really interesting. But because of the ability to get so many eyeballs with not a lot of dollars, that's the magic, right? Like if I had $10 million, I could accomplish the same thing by just running Meta unprofitably over and over and banking on retention. But we're profitable on the front end, so we can reinvest and get more views and shape our own narrative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. So Jake just happened to have been in the space and like kind of figured this out through making content and like kind of discovered it silently, or did you see, like you said, it was trending up on Amazon first? Like, is that like your proof of concept, or like what made you? Because your experience, you've sold a supplement company for $30+ million in your early 20s. So what made you want to get involved in that, basically?
Well, so my whole thing right now, I want to invest in good ideas and good brands. Like I'm building a couple from scratch, and I realized it's so much better when you have a experienced operator who does a lot of the legwork, and I can write a check and bring our TikTok system. So the whole story with Jake, he's a ferocious entrepreneur. He launched a new channel, Evil Food Supply, and he's a YouTube whiz. He realizes the CPMs in that are not profitable like business. And so he goes, what can I do to maximize the value of this channel? Rob, I think it's a good idea to do a product, right? I'm talking about all the stuff wrong in the CPG world. And so he jumps in $1 Million Brand Club, kind of all my framework, goes through the Amazon stuff. He's he's one of those like super autist genius guys that'll pour in and deep dive. And that's where he kind of saw it. He goes, hey, in this health space, beef tallow is trending up. It looks like it might be at the forefront of like a good run. I think I should do this. And so he gets to work developing it. And then we didn't partner till he was damn near ready to launch. Like we didn't officially invest. I was kind of proofing his stuff and going over all of it. But that's kind of where it came to be.
Okay, cool. So once you have this product, you invested. So then your main goal to market it is to find like 40 TikTok creators, and this is kind of your specialty. Yeah.
We've been really fortunate. Oliver's roommate, his name's Jimmy Farley. He's my business partner on all of this stuff. And
okay, I see.
So that's kind of where this all comes. I'm the old guy. Like I'm still the Amazon vet, and I know all this world. But when it comes to like TikTok native stuff, it is that generation. Jimmy's 22. He lived with Oliver. He was running like the agency side of their business while Oliver was building the brand. And right after you did that interview, I went to Arizona and did one with Oliver. Jimmy got dinner with me. He's like, yeah, I could run this for your brands. And I go, oh, okay. All right, that's a good idea. And so he had like 10 creators. And, he charges me nothing. Like he's a young kid, probably making 10, 15 grand a month at the time. And he's like, just give me a shot. I'm like, yeah, like whatever, and he like makes it this big thing. I'm like, no, literally, bro, it's like 10 grand. Like just give it a shot, And long story short, he puts everything into this and it doesn't go well for like a month. And then like 5-6 weeks in, creators start going viral. And my coffee brand, or Top Shelf, the next supplement brand I have, goes from like 150 grand a month to like 800 grand in like, 2 months.
Wow.
And this thing just goes explosive. And then he sits back, he goes, hold on, to scale this, I need more creators. There's only like 10 or 15 creators. And so he ends up launching a program called Creators Corner, which is like, I'm partnered with that. Like it's all kind of one big family where he now trains creators to make content for brands and obviously get paid commissions. And like it's a life-changing thing. And so that's our, I guess, flywheel, or like kind of our secret sauce. We have the brand side, and then we have the top creator talent that comes from Jimmy.
Gotcha. And then what's like the pay structure for those creators if they're working with the brand? Is it a flat monthly rate or?
No. So now with TikTok Shop, it's they usually get like some sort of retainer, but then they get huge commissions too.
Mm.
So I've had kids, like when we launched our cologne, Love Bombed, I had one creator make like $110,000 in a month. He was a waiter 3 months ago. And so just to see kind of that's what I said, like when you talk about this make money online stuff, it's like, it used to be a win if someone started their copywriting course and made like $3,000, you know, like replace their income.
Yeah.
And now we genuinely have, you know, I mean, brand owners creating millions of dollars in enterprise value. And we have, you know, young creators who are great kids dabbling, like finding themselves in this internet money world, making, I mean, we have like probably 7 or 8 kids that have made 6 figures in a month with like no.
I've had 2 people that also DM me from that podcast, and they just implemented the same system, and they're all 8-figure brands at this point. That's such a big number. Like that's not like a little.
No, the cat's out of the bag.
company.
Like this is the thing now. Like if I could go back and shoot Oliver, and I shouldn't say anything crazy, but you know, if I could go back and cancel your guys' podcast and keep all of this like internally, we would probably be a lot closer to $1 billion. Like actually like $1 billion than we are. Because now like all the, you know, I'm tapped in this world. Like I got friends, Physician's Choice, you know, multiple 9-figure brand. Like they're all in. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. And what it's done is it's just that natural competitive cycle. Like back when I started on Amazon, it was easy because no one was doing it. Ads were cheap. You know, the ability to rank was cheap. And then all of a sudden more people pour in. It doesn't like go away. It just gets incrementally harder. And so we're at the beginning stages of that with TikTok. Like it's still mind blowing to me. You said it yourself. Like people on YouTube aren't searching TikTok Shop. Like it's still not in everyone's face, but the money being made is stupid.
You just mentioned that you had like 4 different of these brands. Like this is like just now like a repeatable process to you. And so I would love to understand how like these, I never, as someone who's in this online world, I kind of understand the marketing system, but like you have the idea, you're choosing, how are you like literally, because you were talking about repeat buys, and for that, like the most important thing is like what the product is and that it's actually a good product. So like what are you actually looking for, like very tangibly, in what the product you would go all in on, and then how are you actually making sure that it's a good product, and how are you even getting it manufactured?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do a case study. HyberTape. This is a student of mine that I also invested in. It's mouth tape.
Okay.
And it's one of those products that, you know, month 1 he did 6 figures, is very cheap to start. Like he started that business with a couple grand, and it should be $1 million brand within 12 months. When you're finding the right idea to sell or the right product, you're looking at things like, there's a software called Helium 10, which pulls together all of the Amazon data. You can look at something called Magnet, which basically filters a lot, probably like YouTube. It filters how many people are searching for that versus how many products are actually being sold.
Ooh, okay.
And so you use something like that, and then you're starting to see what's going on. Then you can use something like, but I like to triangulate. I don't just like to have one data point.
Yes.
So then we can take something like Exploding Topics, which gathers all these different internet data points.
Gotcha.
And will tell you ideas that are trending up.
So Exploding Topics showing you like search terms on the internet, like actual like popular trending terms.
Yep.
In industries basically. And then Helium 10 is like showing you, what's Helium 10 showing you?
All of the actual Amazon search data.
Search data, it's like supply demand.
Exactly.
And then what's Magnate doing, or is that the same thing?
That's the specific tool within Helium 10.
Gotcha. So the Magnate tool and Helium 10 is showing you how much supply, how much demand, basically. And the more demand, less supply, that's an opportunity.
Exactly. They filter, the Magnet score is that. Yep.
And then Exploding Topics is like the meta trends of what people are actually interested in right now.
Yep.
And then you're comparing that. That's really cool. So then that's how you then keep going. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. And so those are 2 really good ones. You can also start, TikTok has like Kaleido Data is a new software there that is showing what's selling on TikTok. And so same deal. If you take those 3 points and just do your homework and kind of like what is actually out there, what are the opportunities, what are the pain points? Because what's happening now with TikTok Shop is you have a lot of stuff going viral with a lot of really shitty products. And so you could see like, okay, there's 4 mouth tape brands on here doing well, but the reviews are horrible.
Gotcha.
What's wrong with the reviews, right? And then that's all of a sudden your opportunity.
So, okay, so then you'll look on TikTok and see what is actually getting the views. I know Oliver's strategy was find an intrinsically viral product. So he chose like a controversial sex chocolate, but mouth tape isn't as controversial, but you know there's a lot of interest there. And so then within the market where we have proven interest, you're looking for bad reviews to find a product differentiating factor, and then going all in on making that the core message of your product based on the pain points people are having with other products.
Exactly.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's how you're finding the product idea.
Yep.
Then how do you make sure it actually, like, how are you going about it getting manufactured? I think drop shipping, people lean towards it because it's just like already there.
Yeah.
You have a product, whatever. Now you just need to sell it.
Yeah.
But like to really ensure that you're gonna have enough supply and the product is actually like quality and good. How do you do that?
So one fundamental thing, the 3% rule, Virgil Abloh, you need to make something 3% better to inherently add some sort of value. And I drill that home all day. So the mouth tape brand, my students looking at Hostage Tape, which is like the £1 million or the $20 million brand in that space. And he's going, how can I improve on this? So obviously branding's one. And he just had the idea to make scented versions of them. And so he goes out and he finds the same supplier, through Alibaba and some of those other tools where you're finding other people's manufacturers. Import Yeti's another one where you can see other brands' manufacturers often. And
Really?
So we'll often do stuff like that. Yeah. Especially like when it's overseas, that's probably the best way to do it. If there's a brand you like.
So you can just find a brand. You can use a tool called Import Yeti and literally find who's making it. Oh, so then you literally have to reach out to them and explain what you're looking for.
Exactly. And so he reaches out to them. He's like, hey, can you do this, with a lavender scent? And that's when the dialogue kind of opens up. There's some back and forth. You get your samples. They ship them over. And it's not always like that quick and easy.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to go through different manufacturers. But he found a great one. And those guys ship over, the first order. Or excuse me, we got to get to actual branding. But his samples are great. Like all of a sudden he's got a lavender mouth tape. Then the branding component is especially important in TikTok. And believe it or not, though, we've had so much success with AI, like in getting the actual framework down. When I used to start, creating brands in 2013 with Amazon, it was all designer. It was like hosting contests. It was all these really kind of pain in the ass methods. And now all of a sudden you learn these prompts right, and we have, like a huge framework for putting that together. You can get the basis of your brand dialed with DALL-E 2.
Like graphic design, you mean, like for the brand? So you're literally just using like DALL-E 2 and prompts to come up with like what's on the label?
And Midjourney, yeah.
Really?
And then you take it to a designer because it can't, like,
Gotcha.
it's not gonna get all your legal stuff on there. But like Evil Goods was like that woman on that is an AI generated image, like actually. And this is $1 million brand in month 3.
That is insane.
No, I mean, it's getting easier than ever. And I hate saying that because obviously there's a lot of work that goes into being successful in anything. But the fact you can generate stuff like that in a couple months with artificial intelligence is mind-blowing to me.
To be fair, when you were back 5-10 years ago, if you wanted a graphic design mock-up, you had to find a human being and explain with words. And then they had to go through like iterations. And it was probably not even... Yeah. So it's a lot of... So that actually is like a huge time saver. And that's just like the concept. And now you can get it perfected by a pro. But it's all there. That's really cool, actually. And so then they just have like a standardized like format, like, or like size, like 20 by 4.
Exactly.
Have to, like, fit it in.
The manufacturers typically, like on the mouth tape, it's like, hey, it's coming in this type of jar. Here's it's called a die line. They give you the die line. The die line gets filled out by the designer.
Gotcha. Wow, that's cool. I can't believe you can just literally find manufacturers from other products, and then it's just like already there, and you just kind of make it a little different.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so then, was there anything specific with branding that like you have like a little bit of like sauce on? Like, is there like do you have an eye for it? What is your like?
I'm so passionate about branding. It's not even funny. I think in today's world, like to Oliver's point, finding a viral product is important, or can be, but having viral branding solves that too. Like when you see it and it's disruptive and it's loud and it doesn't look like everything else, it is just inherently, it's the visual hook. It's inherently more likely to get people to stop scrolling. And so kind of thinking through that framework, I encourage people to be aggressive. I encourage people to be loud. I encourage people to draw from different industries. Like if everyone's making the same beef tallow that looks all natural and foo-foo, like go to the 70s and draw Marilyn Monroe screaming, and don't be afraid to push that, because what's happening is the world is shifting and you just need to play the rules of the new world. Like there's a potential scenario where websites are slowly becoming obsolete and people are buying, which is an egregious statement, but people are going to be buying live. And they're going to be buying visual. And so with that in mind, what do you want to be? You want to be the loudest fucking brand. And we're leaning into that hardcore.
There's always like a counterculture.
Always.
And so how can you like predict not even a counterculture, but more just like the table turns all the time, constantly.
Always.
So what is it? The pendulum swings. Yeah. Cool. I would say Evil Goods is like, you would not expect a skincare brand to be called Evil Goods.
No.
Like it's like contradicting, almost like Liquid Death or something.
Yeah.
Like it's making something
another $1 billion brand.
Yeah,
right?
making something very normal and good for you sound like intense.
Yeah.
It's just good thought process. And then you did you did Genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had bought some of your products before, Deadass. And did you do that just because it was like optimizing, the thought process was productivity for like entrepreneurs, and Genius was like that association, or why'd you choose?
Yeah, in that phase of my life, I always made products for me. Like I wanted to build it's been like a passion for me. I've wanted to build a lifestyle that I want to live every day. And so Genius was just me finding the best version of myself. And as I got more into work, it was nootropics. It was how can I maximize productivity? And believe it or not, that trademark just wasn't taken. Like I was like, there's gotta be a way to supplement smarter. I was going through names, no ChatGPT yet. I'm sure they would have given me Genius, but Genius brand was untaken. I was like, well, what a great name.
So you had to trademark it? Like you do that first thing?
Usually. Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
You at least want to, you almost always want to trademark something.
What do you have to do to trademark it? Is it hard?
No, it's very easy. It's like you can. There's sites online that'll do it for you for a couple $100.
Is it fast?
Usually, the application process is fast, and then it pens for like 2-3 months.
So you have to wait to launch until that goes through?
No. I say as long as you've checked that there's no one else with your exact name, quit Google.
You'll be the first one to have it. Yeah,
and as long as you're applied, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's so interesting. Okay, so you're really just like trying to make something really pop. It's not obvious and stand out. I'm sure there's like it's too subjective to really get into it. So once you have the branding down, is there like I think the least sexy thing about physical products is the margins in most people's minds. So it's like, do you have like how would I choose to price something?
That's a good question. I'm like a big premium product guy.
For sure.
And I think you need to make, also, I say come up with the product first and then set the pricing.
Yeah.
And I always want you to make like 2.5 times your cost of goods.
Okay.
Like minimum. Like that is a range that you can survive ads. You can run a profitable, scalable business. And it's not a percentage because with something like cookies, 60% net profit versus a $100 test booster, the dollar amount is dramatically less on cookies. And so you think about like when you're running ads, the CPC, $4 or $5 on a $12 product versus a $100 product is going to destroy all of your.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way. I have a failed cookie company.
Gotcha. What's a test booster?
Like a supplement. That supports testosterone.
Oh,
levels.
testosterone.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that type of thing.
Interesting.
And so, I say 2.5 times your cost of goods. But on that note, it's like if you're making the product good, and this was my eye-opening moment in the supplement world. I come in and there's all these products being sold for like really cheap. And one of the first eye-opening moments was a fat burner product I wanted to put together. And I go to this pharmacist. I'm like, hey man, we got to make like the best thing that actually works. Like nothing crazy, but like that actually supports weight loss. Like put everything into it. And he gives me back the quote of like what the product costs to make, and my cost of goods is more than what all of the top brands are selling for. And I go, like no wonder people say this industry's a scam. No wonder people say these products don't work. And so rather than like shut it down, I said, well, surely there's like a narrative here, and there's a need for this clearly. And so why don't we just price the product where it needs to be priced, come out with it anyway, and then let the market decide. And that was really the entire thesis behind Genius. And it's my philosophy to this day. I would rather see people innovate and make things better for retention, for repeat buyers, so they have a sustainable business, than they would trying to be like everybody else.
So you think that people that were doing this just wanted to save as much money as possible, and from their perspective, to market the product, when you're marketing something for the first time, there's really no way to tell how good the product is. It's all about the marketing. And so they choose the cheapest, quickest option.
Yes.
And then they get rewarded for that at the beginning.
Yep.
But then over the long tail, they fail. Yeah. And so you're really focused on like the actual brand building and the repeat buying, but they have to have that good experience. So how have you been able to, have you just been able to outmarket those people regardless? Or
And that's been the beauty of direct to consumer and TikTok and Amazon.
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to do that when it was like supplements used to be the good old boys club, and it was like GNC, and it was your distributors, and it was a very set way of doing business. And that's when I got started. Like I kind of wandered into that world right as Amazon came, and all those guys were not quick to adapt. And I had the luxury of being able to do whatever I wanted and go direct to consumer, and honestly end up making more net with some of it. Because I didn't have to play by those rules anymore.
Interesting.
And you look at things, and that's just true across the board. You look at Tabs is a good one. Tabs is not a good product. I mean, no, it's a $30 sex try. And Oliver would probably say that, right?
It's gimmicky, yeah.
It's gimmicky.
Yeah.
And it's one that went crazy viral, and he made a ton of money. But is the retention there? Will that business still be around? Like, probably not, right? Just because of that, if they don't iterate or make things better. And so that's how I think about it. I think longer game, you make less money in the short term, but that's what ultimately, like, we play this to win-win. And that's how you have to think about it.
Interesting. So you're really open about numbers. Like I remember seeing this Instagram carousel of this product, and you were literally talking about how much it cost, how much, like, what your margin was and everything. Could you break that down so I at least know the lingo and the verbiage? Of
That one off top. Can I pull up the carousel? Can we pull up the carousel?
I would love to just go through that whole carousel of this podcast because
Yeah,
there's so much in there.
because I mean, that's been one of my things on social. I want to be like, no one's really putting it out there, and some of these I got to be careful. You know, like I have a partner in that business, obviously, and he at a certain point we'll stop talking publicly. But it's been such a cool success story in the beginning.
So quickly, like
yeah.
relatively.
It was this thread, right? The 25.
Yep.
So this one was doing 25K a day, 3 months old. Found a winning product, sell it for 50. Yeah, so each unit's about $6, and it might be a little bit more, like $6.30, something like that. Try to keep clean numbers on the
For sure.
on the tweets.
Yeah, keep it simple.
But retails for $50. We're doing around 500 units a day. Amazon takes their $12.40, and like gross profit every day is close to 15 to 20 grand.
So you're selling, so it's $6 to make them. You charge $50 for it. You're selling 500 a day, so that's $25,000 a day. And then Amazon takes 15%. So that's, what do you say, 12? So basically you're all in $20.
Yep.
Are you running ads on Amazon? PPC
Yes,
ads?
that's gross profit, and we spend money on those creators. Like,
Okay.
that is not net profit. That's gross profit.
And so that example on Amazon? Is TikTok Shop and are Amazon partnered, or are these people seeing the brand on TikTok organically and then just going to Amazon to search it? Like it's kind of a paired.
That for now.
Okay.
We just launched this on TikTok Shop, and TikTok Shop itself has like they're taking 8% right now. Like the numbers on TikTok are better, but you give a bigger commission. We just decided to use our creator system and focus all on Amazon to kind of start this off, but this could go nuclear on TikTok Shop too.
So I'm curious, what's like the nurturing sequence to make sure they get to Amazon or know to go to Amazon? Obviously that's pretty obvious, I'm sure, like a lot of things now, but like, is there like, I know Oliver had the reply to comments where like if you had one creator go viral, then like reply to comment, like it was kind of like a strategic retargeting video to like send them.
We don't do a lot of that, honestly. It's been just such discovery based, and that's where it's found right now. There's a link in bio to Amazon. But it's been far from perfect. But when you're talking 10 million views on a video, like,
yeah. So are there really any other costs? It's $6 for the product. Amazon's 15% fee. Are there any other like set costs other than paying the creators?
No, not set. I mean, we run ads on Amazon and stuff. Like we spend money a lot of places.
What are Amazon ads? How does that work?
It's almost all, cost per click based on keyword.
So if they type in like beef tallow, you would just be the
that
first.
Might be $4, right?
$4.
And the goal, like where you make your money on Amazon, is not ads. Like you'll hopefully break even on that or lose some money. Your end goal is to be the organic #1 product for beef tallow.
So if you pay for the ads, you'll get purchases, good reviews over like 2 months. You'll be able to basically buy your first purchases, which could ideally lead to 5-star reviews, which would then help you rank the highest.
Exactly. And then it's a complex algorithm. And there's one of the things right now that Amazon changed over the last 2 years, they love external traffic. So if people are searching evil goods beef tallow, that
so
is
you get
like
the direct.
They love it. They will reward that all day.
So people are specifically Googling the brand name beef tallow and then clicking on yours. That's like a signal to them that you're the authority off platform.
Exactly.
Whoa.
And they reward that. It's just like YouTube where, the recommendation engine.
Yeah.
You go viral. You go viral on Amazon. Like you are
Interesting.
the suggested product next. Like someone bought snail moisturizer and then they're shown evil goods. And when that pops, that's why I said Amazon brings you all your repeat buyers. TikTok is your discovery.
Gotcha.
And then Amazon is your sustainability and like 100 million plus Prime shoppers.
Yeah, there's like a click-through rate. The first purchase is kind of like the click-through
Extremely
rate.
high conversion.
AVD, average view durations, repeat buys. Yeah, it's all the same. We are in the algorithmic world.
We are.
Okay, so then you have the product, you have the price, you've got good branding, you trademarked it, you're on Amazon. Then you're going to run Amazon ads to really beef up the first initial sales, to really see if people are buying, to really just like test if the product's good, and to hopefully like build up some reputation on the platform. Then simultaneously you're going to TikTok and you're just partnering with like, are these like women creators? And it's just like,
they're all over the place, but they're like, it's like 16 to 25-year-old kids.
okay, so I know Jimmy does yours, but like, how do you guys objectively find these people? Is it like going on Twitter and typing in like UGC creator?
No, there's only a couple of people that like have this like real edge right now, and I would say 80% of them are coming from Creators Corner, which is his thing.
So it's like you guys, just to briefly summarize what that means, is that he basically runs ads teaching people how to be creators on TikTok and make money as like a UGC creator. But he's like training them on like the best practices. And then you have a strategic partnership with him where he just supplies you
Exactly.
50 plus creators. And does he manage that for you? When you think of businesses growing their sales beyond forecasts like Mattel, sure, you think about a product with demand, a focused brand, and influence-driven marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet, and the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Mattel uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/WGMI, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/WGMI to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/WGMI.
So he has it's a pretty robust system. He's got managers. There's like in Creators Corner, which is in a Discord. That's his place. There's, job postings, there's manager training, and basically that's what we do. We have a manager, and then the manager is kind of the one handling all of the hiring.
So it's so interesting because this is like in like big corporate companies, they have like hundreds of course material, like onboarding things. Like if you get hired, you have to go through 2 weeks of onboarding. You're just watching courses on how to do stuff. And so it's almost like he's like democratized that as like an arm of your business where he's like just creating this recruitment engine, recruiting and training and onboarding engine, and hands it off to all of your different. That's such a cool machine.
It's been really cool because it's been one of those rare times where everyone's making a lot of money.
Everyone wins because he gets paid for that, for the courses and for onboarding.
The creators are getting paid. We're selling product.
And they get guaranteed placement, which is basically like college for a corporate job.
We've seen a lot of people try to copy what Jimmy's doing. Teach people how to be creators, and they're missing all of those pieces. The education's not strong. The placement isn't guaranteed. Like it's been quite the moat. I've been very impressed with him.
That's very interesting though. That is like the modern day version of go to college, get a degree, get a corporate job, and they'll help you do that. Like in college, they help you make a LinkedIn and then help you get a job.
Yeah.
Now it's just make an ad on how to make money, teach them a method of making money, and then guarantee them the placement by partnering with people like you, and then you're just scaling huge businesses on the back end.
I'm just trying to keep as many brands flowing in as possible because it keeps getting bigger now, right? At first it was like we had our 3 in-house brands, and then we couldn't create brands fast enough. And I don't want to run 1 million brands. And so it's like, okay, $1 million brand club, TikTok shop. How can you guys get these out? And then we have the creators. So it's been it's
got to be great for deal flow for you.
It's insane.
Like it's a huge private equity type or a VC.
It is. So we're trying to snag up as many as possible. Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling us. I actually do appreciate you sharing this because anyone who's like actually serious about the game, this is like the most.
I told you that's my model. And it's like, I want to be the creator that actually runs this shit up in public and like does it in a way that makes sense, because social media is so powerful. A personal brand is so powerful, but not many people are thinking through like the actual monetization component, like the actual, like, what are you trying to do? Everyone's just trying to sell a course and make their info money, which again,
that's piece 1 of 3 that would actually matter. Yeah.
And credits are Hormozi. Like that is where I kind of saw acquisition.com. I'm going, oh, okay, like I see the equity component with it. Yes. It's smart.
That's how he gets deal flow. Private equity. What do they need? Deal flow. Well, what do you need for deal flow? Entrepreneurs making like $3-4 million a year, so you can help them scale. Well, how are they going to choose you? Well, if I just help them go from 300 to 3 million through free content, they'll come to me.
Exactly.
That's a content thesis.
Exactly.
Super important. Very cool. Okay, so I'm curious I don't know, I guess how much you would know about this if Jimmy's handling this, but I'm sure you're aware. What are like, if you got 10 creators for a brand right now, how are you like, and they're trained, let's say they already know the concept, like what are like the best practices or like content styles that you're having people make that's working for you?
So honestly, it changes every 2-3 weeks. And where you really make a lot of money now, since it's getting a little more competitive, is when someone comes in and innovates something totally new. And again, I'm not the young kid in this world, but I do understand. It's like you need the disruption, so the hook, whatever that is, and then you need retention and repeat, and that's pretty much it. And so that's what Jimmy does well, and me too. Like I encourage these kids to not just copy what's working, because that'll happen too. You get one viral video for your brand and then they all pour on it, which is great. That's like rocket fuel. But when all of a sudden there's a brand new style, like 6 months ago, these kids figured out you do 11 labs with this voice Adam, and you start with that hook and like a visual of the product. It's this really deep voice with like Mid-Journey, you know, wild images.
I know, yeah.
Like if you took this product for 21 days, and it was so disruptive.
So they have like pretty good. I'm sure Jimmy has like the copywriting formula down, where it's like hook, disruptor, like getting them to stop the scroll. Then it's like they have like the retention optimized. But I'm curious, the format that was you're saying is an AI voice.
If 11 Labs,
11
AI
Labs
voice
is an AI voice
script
generator
with
and then
Mid-Journey images.
And then you're just funneling in like a copywriting script and then just showing over literal AI voices.
Yeah, and the AI images are flashing up, and it's really.
Is there? Could you just give me a little more description of like what the copy is? It's like if it for like the beef tallow one, are you like do you have like are you just showing people with acne? Like literally, are you choosing UGC creators with acne or something?
Some of those work. Like one style that went crazy nuclear was just slideshows, and so slideshows aren't even video. It's just. You know, like
before after.
Yeah, it'd be like the 7 products at Walmart that can help your skin.
And there's like listicle planting yours as one of them.
And
interesting.
That would always be the last available now at Amazon. And you'd be shocked that some of those would get like we've had slideshows get 15 million views.
Is it pictures on Instagram?
Yeah,
or
on TikTok.
So it's just a TikToks, but it's a video, but it's just
no. It's that's one of the modes on TikTok. It's not all video. It's still pictures on TikTok.
You can do that now. Oh, I don't use TikTok. That's crazy.
You're healthier for it.
That's why. It's like dangerous. No self-control over here. So they literally let you do like just carousel basically.
Very much like Instagram, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then it's just like your whole goal is to basically get 20 creators at the same time, just like a VC, spread out the risk.
Exactly.
Let
just
them
like
use
VC.
their creativity.
More swings at bat.
Yeah. So you're giving them a flat, basically $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, something like. Is that the right range?
Anywhere from literally like new ones can be $300 to we have some creators that. There's some that are really good that like you kind of gotta give them some crazy deal.
They know how much they're once they're doing something right. So it could be anywhere from 300, maybe 3,000, 5,000 if they're like crazy good, and then they all get the affiliate link through TikTok Shop directly.
Yeah.
Or no.
So the 2 different ways to do it. Like Evil Goods, we started Amazon only campaign. Top Shelf, my main brand, we're like all in on TikTok Shop. In TikTok Shop, they're paid that commission there directly.
So for the Amazon only, are they just all paid like monthly?
Pretty much. Then we'll do things like view bonuses. We try to set up affiliate links for like certain ones because you can loosely track that.
Do they have to post every single day? Do they have to post
They're
twice?
supposed to, yeah.
So they're supposed to post every day. That's Jimmy's job to stay on top of them. And then how do you know when to cut them?
If they're not performing, we'll
what's
typically
that?
give everyone a month, and then if there's not traction or because a lot of them are kids, right? And so they'll miss days. Like you can tell. That's where the manager tier that Jimmy added has been really helpful. Like
would you expect to be profitable in the first month from one of these accounts, or does
absolutely.
It take, yeah,
absolutely. That's the magic of it. Yeah.
Literally, at most, like, how many would you say are profitable in your first month if you had hired 10?
Like, just 10 creators?
Yeah, if you did 10.
With 10 creators, I'd say maybe 50, 60%.
So, but you literally got a 50, like coin flip if this person will be successful.
But you go 20, 30, I'm talking like 90%. Yeah.
How? Just because you have like
more swings at bat, someone cracks it, and the second someone cracks it,
you share it.
Exactly.
So is that okay? So that's interesting. So if someone cracks some, like you basically have 30 people, and you just need one person to find like a really good winning format, and then as fast as possible, you take that and you put it into it. So do you have like a community of these people?
Each brand has its own little Discord. It's
Discord, and if, just like Oliver. Okay. So basically, all of the creators then get onboarded into a Discord. They're all making content, and then you're just monitoring it. You see one pop off, then Jimmy or whoever's managing it takes that, says winning format, everybody copy this right now, and then when it rains it pours.
Exactly.
And then you kind of run up that little micro trend.
And they do like weekly calls and like
so you're like managing and training all of them. Are they like employees for the company, like contractors?
Contractors, yeah.
Yeah, but they're like, do you guys require like full time or anything, or just you have to be on this call, post this time?
Yeah, and at this point too, it's very like they don't, because now the demand for it is so high and brands are paying more. It's much more like the brands are having to work hard to retain talent.
Gotcha. And so is there like a little like ecosystem of like how can you message creators directly from TikTok?
Yeah, and it doesn't work well.
So don't do it directly.
Twitter's probably like the best place to kind of find them, but
the freelancers, yeah.
What we did too to kind of not democratize this, but like Creators Corner is $3,500, $4,000. So we have a one called Your First Dollar as well, which kind of runs through me because I got a big audience and a lot of kids that want to make money online and don't do anything. So Your First Dollar is $50 a month, and it's like the intro level to all of this. But $1 Million Brand Club brands will post in there. It's like a micro version of it. And so somewhere like that's a good place to find creators. There's no like.
But you're trying to like, you're trying to like create them in a way. Like you're trying to like attract them into an opportunity and then create them, train them yourselves. And so you're really putting a lot of effort into making sure the quality control, even the creator's correct and they're trained. That's why your success rate's so high.
On Creators Corner in particular.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy turns away people. Like if he doesn't think they're gonna be good fits.
Yeah. Interesting. So if you're like lazy and you're just like trying to hire one UGC creator, like great, I'm doing this, your odds are just not stacked in your favor.
Correct.
But so cool. You have like all these little advantages. So then once you have the creators going, I'm curious how, like, is this actual brand equity? Like, this is like repeatable since it's democratized across not a personal brand, but like 30 just UGC creators. Once you have that down, like, is there another vertical you tackle, or is that just like you try to scale to as many creators as possible? Because it seems like with like at some point you win TikTok if you're like at your scale, like
not really.
If you're the number one product, so
yeah, everything has its moment, is what we've noticed on TikTok too. So it's not like.
Can someone please invent a crystal ball? Until then, over 40,000 businesses have future-proofed their business with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, HR, all into one fluid platform. With one unified business management suite, there's one source of truth, giving you the visibility and control you need to make quick decisions. With real-time insights and forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. When you're closing the books in days, not weeks, you're spending less time looking backwards and more on what's next. Whether your company is earning millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you respond to immediate challenges and seize your biggest opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/WGMI. This guide is free to you at netsuite.com/WGMI. netsuite.com/WGMI. Thank you for sponsoring today's episode.
Product will go viral and then it will pull back. Like people just get fatigued. They've seen it enough. The angles aren't working. It's like Evil Goods, like that $1 million month, as epic as it was, we will pull back. I guarantee it. We'll need to come out with new products and we'll need to keep the community engaged. But my whole edge on just holistic business has been the Amazon component of it. Amazon is ungodly stable. So if you're the #1 beef tallow organically on there, you can bank on 50,000 views a month with a 5% conversion, giving you however many sales that is in a very consistent and plannable manner. So that's been kind of my whole edge, if you will, taking that Amazon piece, which is like old school now, which is crazy to say, and rewarding yourself with all the external traffic during the peaks on TikTok while doing all of that well. And so you have a stable business, then you can keep tinkering with cracking the money machine. TikTok's the magic money machine. Amazon is the stability.
Interesting. And so it's like kind of like the email list. Do you have email lists? Is that a thing?
They're a joke.
Yeah.
They're a joke.
Because you're not running to Shopify or anything. It's just straight to Amazon. Okay, cool. So, but have you tried to dabble? So you're trying to, you put all this, like right when you're launching a brand, you're putting all this money into the TikTok creators. One person cracks it, you spread that message, and then you're trying to like just hit this big month and like win the market, have that one moment, and you stabilize on Amazon, and now you're organically ranking for that term. And so is that like kind of the strategy? It's like put everything into try to rank #1 for the term, and then once you're there, you're pretty solid. Obviously, you need to like stay on your toes for another person to.
But that is the entire strategy. And Amazon has a thing called a honeymoon period. It's an algorithm, so they need data. And when you introduce a new product to Amazon, there's a 90-day window because they always have a 90-day look back on how they want to reward you, your reviews, your conversion, all of that. So when you introduce something brand new, there's 90 days to basically tell Amazon this product's fantastic. And if you combine that with the TikTok spillover, that's why we didn't give people the option of buying on TikTok Shop with Evil Goods. We wanted to concentrate that Amazon boom to the point that we are #1, we are sticking, we are viral on Amazon. And when you hit that, then you have yourself a permanent winner. Think of Amazon like digital real estate. All those search words are digital real estate.
Yeah.
And once you buy that, you're being paid every day.
So that's the true brand equity right there. So would the creators, like, would you dial back on the creators after that hit, or do you just keep them going?
We've thought a lot about this because it's new, right? And so like Top Shelf, my first brand was kind of the pioneer. We had a product like this and then down. And it's some mix of keeping that community engaged and strong because creators will go to new brands. They go where the money's at, right? They want to be paid. And so how do you keep that community strong and kind of weaponized? And then how can you feed them new products? Because, and then how can you reignite the existing ones? Because they will come back. Like Evil Goods can go like this, then down, and then give it 2-3 months and you find a new angle or something happens in the news, right? It can always be very, fickle, culture based too. And so there can be moments where it comes back.
Interesting.
And if you can kind of run it like that, then you're going to capitalize on really maximum monetization. You'll find all the times when you can go viral. Because when you go viral, it's free money, and while still running a stable, healthy business.
But there's just those moments you need to be shooting for. So you're saying keep the community of
That Discord.
the Discord, correct? But then what about, like, how would you introduce, if you said you were going to make new products, like a product line, how would you introduce that to existing buyers?
Same playbook, really.
So even if it's a new line, it's like a related product, and the branding should be in their mind.
Exactly.
So, but you still have to get them through TikTok, the discovery machine.
Exactly. But on Amazon, there's things you can do. Like Amazon has, like there's a lot
Like
of brand
pages.
Yeah, brand pages, and then now they're even letting you email existing customers. Like Amazon's pretty good for introducing.
So you can email existing customers
through Amazon. So you don't get their contact, but you can.
Like you in their back end, you can hit send email to your whole list or just single customers.
To people that have bought the product. Yeah.
And is there like a limit to that, or is it just?
It's not super strong, and I don't quote me off top, but it's like I'm pretty sure you can send like an email a day. Like it's.
So you're not running email marketing through that or anything.
No, and it's templated. Like you don't have a lot of creativity or anything like that, but you can contact everyone who bought your thing and introduce a new product.
Do you think they should open that up? Like if you had the emails of the customers, would you even run it?
No, they'll never open it up. Like what that they've made. We used to be able to kind of backdoor stuff like that, and they've just made every effort to. What's on Amazon is Amazon.
I guess that makes sense because then you're just going to try to siphon them off.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a Shopify page or something. Okay. Huh. So then you have that's like your go-to playbook here, like for company to company. I'm curious, this is just like a genuine question. Don't take this the wrong way, but like why go for so many brands and not just put all your effort into like do you not think that it's like why would you run Facebook or Instagram ads? Do you run YouTube ads? Is there or YouTube creators, not even ads, just YouTube sponsors like Jake, and go after everybody like Jake basically? What's the thought process behind that?
Rather blame Jimmy. He makes money training creators, and the creators need somewhere to go.
That's just the machine you have built up.
It's the machine, and it's challenged me from a business perspective to be able to think through scale and like getting partners and people in place and figuring out how to systematize and get the right things, in order. Cause we definitely have, there's one brand that has $400 or $500 million potential for sure that I don't talk about on here. And that's like one that's its own focus. Like we hired a CEO and we're spinning it off. Right. And we're doing those things. We're doing Facebook, we're doing YouTube, we're going for retail.
So is that how you would scale? I guess I don't even know. I didn't know that was a naive question or not. So
I'm a guy that I go from 0 to 50 million. Well, like that's kind of my range.
It's good self-awareness. Yeah.
And
you're in your 20s. So.
My other partner is the guy that he sold a pet business for 600 million, and so he's kind of seen that world. And it becomes more corporate and stale. But 0 to 50 million, you're looking for a profitable playbook. So all I think about is what are the pieces that you can put $1 in the machine and make $5. And when you talk about things like meta ads, it's pretty well known, like they're not what they used to be.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like 7 years ago, that was the
only
thing.
option. Yeah.
Yeah. And so YouTube, like I'm constantly scouring opportunities, but for 2 years until I saw your podcast with Oliver, there wasn't a thing. Like Amazon was drier than ever. Like, it was
everything was mature, competitive.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I saw this thing and I go, oh, okay, that's, we have something again. It had been 2 years. And that's how I think about business. So I'm always looking for those verticals.
So you have the biggest arbitrage right now with TikTok Shop. So that's the biggest opportunity, maximize it. And then once you're at that, 50 million is great. You sold your last one for 30 million, right?
I'm saying 50 million revenue.
Yeah.
Right, but
how old were you? How old are you now?
I'm 32 now, and I was just about to turn 27. I was 26.
So you sold your supplement company when you were 27. Now you're 32. Damn, dude, you're killer. That's crazy. Okay, so then you are investing in is there any sort of how are you getting? I don't want to go deep on this topic, but how are you getting deal flow? How are you finding people? Is it
my community, the
personal brand
club. Yeah.
So that's what the whole point of your personal brand is now.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like the same thing as Hormozi, a private equity.
It's super. The only difference is I charge. I charge to be $1 million brand club. I looked at Hormozi's thing.
But you're more like incubating, right? So you're like incubator for physical products. He's just he's just good at sales. So he's optimizing for companies where you can just implement a sales team for info, basically.
And we're just looking for good products, ideas, and entrepreneurs. And then we have the edge for them.
And so, but you kind of, at that point, you kind of have to charge, because if you get a ton of free offers, then it's like overwhelming.
Yeah,
Or
it
100
sucks.
people. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, out of all the things we've done, we've invested in, because most of these brands, even if they make some money over a couple years, the chances of them selling for money that matters to me or like my partners is low. So we're trying to be really strategic with the actual, we've made 7 of them in 2 years. So it's not like we're, trying to grab pieces of everything. It'd just be a pain in the ass on the tax return.
Yeah. It's just like you're making content that gets 100,000 views. You sort through like the serious 100 people, and out of those 100, you choose the 7 that actually have what it takes that you can put your machine into. Dude, you're playing the game at the highest, most modern level. This is sick.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. I'm trying to do it right for real. And
what do you think the time horizon is that you have to play on?
I think in 2 or 3 years we'll know like who wins this game.
Is the selling process hard for these type of companies? Like, what I'm very curious on how like a CPG brand would go through like an acquisition.
Yeah, the bigger the exit, the more stringent the acquisition process.
Are there companies that just scoop up like $10 million supplement, like they let you do all this work and then just like scoop up 10 million to try to take it to 50, or scoop up 50 like is that like a thing? Is there like tiers to it?
Absolutely.
So is that why you said you're like a 0 to 50 type of guy, and then there's like people that like once you get to 50 they know how to go to 500 but that's more just like local manufacturing, distribution.
No, it's more systems and process and like business ops. So that's when you kind of go from like, you're in the Slack room with your guys firing off ideas, thinking about everything, to all of a sudden, now we have a marketing department. Now we have a CMO. Now we have, probably what, WAP's going through, not like all that organizational stuff that I don't like. Like, I don't like corporatization.
Me neither.
No. And yeah.
I was like, I'm a content creator,
But that's what'll take a brand from, double-digit million enterprise value to multiple 9 figures, like just because it reduces risk. It's like it's no longer dependent on Rob's brain. It's no longer dependent on just the TikTok system. Now all of a sudden you have a well-oiled machine that anyone can buy.
Okay, so I think that like it's kind of crazy. I don't know if since I talked to Oliver and I've seen like I'm so understanding of the strategy, but like there is no doubt that everything you just said is like 100% objectively correct, and it's the most modern, optimal way to scale a brand, and it's repeatable. You're doing it with 7 people, and you just told everybody in the world what to do, just like Oliver did a year ago, and you're seeing the success. But yeah, a lot of people watching this won't do it.
Why is that?
It's probably like ego, or not ego, but you're scared of trying, because then if you try, you fail. That's my only perception. Like the easiest cop-out answer is like, what you need to do, but then if you haven't done it yet, what does that say about you? And it's kind of a hard pill to swallow for your ego, and you kind of like, but it's easier to like just say this guy on the internet's a scammer or whatever. Like it's easier to protect yourself than admit that you don't have what it takes right now. You need to go work and gain skills. That's my best answer. What do you think?
I got a couple takes on it. Why would anyone lead with their ego when success often comes from failing fast, and your ego never wants to lose? I failed for several years after I sold that first portfolio, like a double-digit entrepreneur. 8 figures. I failed for several years. I went under on a cookie company. I went under on a protein bar company. But it was those losses that led me to Oliver in this system. And if I led with my ego, I would have kept trying. The ego wants to win, right? But once you logically understand that losses are what are going to shape wealth and like your actual growth, then you level up. I think most people are afraid to think about, like, this is gonna get way too philosophical, but the genuine reality of life, of existence. Like, people don't think about, I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die, and I'll have all this Netflix information, and I'll know who won the sports ball game on Sunday. And I was too scared to start the business, even though I went down the rabbit hole and told my friend about it because it felt good and I was really smart. And I think if more people looked at the lens of life through death, they would be more willing to do shit that actually mattered and do shit that changed their life. And I've been trying to speak a lot more on that because, social media is relatively new to me. Like, how long have you been doing YouTube? 8 years?
3 for this channel.
For this channel.
But yeah, content for 8, yeah.
And content's probably like a 2.5 year thing for me, serious. And I was like, I can just come with tactics and show people exactly how to do this and just be raw and real. And then I didn't realize how many people are in their head. They just need to be told they can do it, or that self-limiting belief needs to blow up. And so I've really tried to make that a pillar of my personal brand because I think it's important. Like, I don't want people to give a fuck. I don't want people to give a fuck about other people's expectations. I want them to look at me and see a guy that's like close to unhinged with just the lack of care for whatever people think about me.
What was your self-image before you started your first brand. Like this has always been my natural state of being. Like I feel like my mentality has been the exact same since I was like 18, 19 when I picked up my first camera. It was like, this sounded like a fun thing to do. I've just like trying stuff, going out and doing things in the world and make money from it. It's such like, I feel like I've been just doing the same thing for 9 years, even though every business has been different. There's been a ton of failures. So what was your mindset when you were just starting out? Not mindset, but like self-image, like perception of yourself.
I've been born and died like 7 times in the last 20 years, like actually. And when I first got out of college, I think I knew I'd be an entrepreneur. And like I just knew I'd find a way to work for myself and make money. And I still spent most of my time like eating Chipotle and going to the gym. I was like a gym bro. And then kind of was like looking for side hustle type things to kind of, find whatever. And it was when I found Amazon and realized how much money that was being made that like that was like my first death. I went from like a guy that, like how many times I could bench 315 was my life. Like that was my self-image. I didn't particularly care about like clothing or fashion or anything like that. It wasn't a huge interest.
But it was your thing. Like, I'm the gym guy.
I'm the gym guy.
Yeah.
And that person died violently. And it was replaced with a kid that was willing to sit at that computer every minute of every day and do whatever it took to grow that business. Cause I knew there was a window.
Could you explain that death? What do you mean by that? And why do you use that such aggressive language?
Because that was my entire personality. That was me.
But was it like a hard thing? Like, were you like hit in the face with something that made you do that? Like, how were you able to like kill that identity? It's hard to do, like consciously at least.
Yeah, honestly, one of the moments that sparked all that was the passing of my grandma. It just it all happened at once. Like I'd wandered into this Amazon world and I was just kind of starting. I had a different brand, Modern Man, that did well. But I was just starting out. I was kind of dabbling. I'm making some money. And she was like the center of our family. And that's why I tied everything back to death earlier. But I'll never forget this. Where I'm sitting at my desk, like looking at some Amazon stuff, and my mom calls me. And she's like, hey, your dad, took your grandma in. And she like trails off. And I'm kind of sitting there. I'm like, what's going on? And for an operation, she didn't wake up. And her voice just explodes, And I'm sitting there, everything just kind of went numb, and I'm like, well, what's going on? I'm this kid. I don't understand death. I haven't lost anyone. I got both of my parents. And it was this like shaking. And she went in for an operation, had something in her leg fixed. It was like super routine. Young 70, like center of our family, saw her once a month for dinner, had been with her 2 weeks before. And her heart stopped. And they spent 50 minutes reviving her. And long story short, she's in ICU all week. And that week of seeing my dad, like a guy I look up to my dad. He's like my idol. And seeing my dad for the first time just lose it, like actually break down, and seeing people come and, console him as he's just begging his mom to wake up on this hospital bed. She's a vegetable. Like we know she's probably not, right? We're hoping for a miracle. And it was this relatively traumatic event as a young kid who, like at the very end of it, it's on Easter of all things. After that whole week, my grandpa decides like it's time to pull the plug, and we all went in the room. My dad couldn't be in there. My grandpa couldn't. It was my mom, my wife, and then a couple of the other women. And, they're playing Elton John, Rocket Man, our favorite song. And I remember that flatline. They take the tube out, so gasp for air, flatline. I remember just going over and looking at the window like, whoa, like that's going to happen to my dad. That's going to happen to me. What is life? Like actually, and it kind of led to some turbulence in my personal life and a lot of issues after that. But on the other side of that, that's where I realized like, okay, well, Nana would have wanted me to see me do something meaningful with my life. She would have wanted to see me build something. She was already proud of the direction that we were headed. She was born 15. My dad was born when my Nana was 15 in a fucking tent in Tennessee. Like they came from nothing, and my dad's been a relatively successful entrepreneur with, no college education. I know she was super proud of that. She was proud of the direction I was headed.
She was encouraged.
And I kind of grasped onto that and said like, okay, well, let's make this life something that generationally it makes sense. And yeah.
Did you, so sorry about that story,
No,
but
yeah.
it's very interesting. So you said that you basically, the mind frame shift was I was just being a gym person, but now I need to like actually like accomplish something of myself. And so it gave you the kick in the ass to like, I need to be something. Why was the be something? So the be something was because your dad was an entrepreneur that she respected, and so that's what you wanted to be in line with. Is that correct?
I think just in general, I wanted to do something meaningful with my life. I'd seen all my friends like in the same hometown doing nothing, and it's just like, okay, it's time to separate.
How did you settle on what you like, supplements or whatever the first business?
So I was already kind of wandering into that world, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was there. And around that same time, I had a friend sell a company for $4 million.
So you saw it.
And that number to me was like insane. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, if I could do that, then I'd never have to work again.
Mhm.
Obviously wrong. Like, you know,
Yeah.
4 million ain't that much. But
Yeah.
that sparked everything and just woke me up. And I didn't go to the gym for 2 years. I lost all my, like literally 2 years. I lost all my muscle. I sat behind a computer. I developed like damn near scoliosis. And I learned so much about business and scaling. I read all the Google, you know, archives. I read everything I could about Amazon and that A9 algorithm, like, and that's what it took.
Interesting. I'm curious because you have like a really cool aesthetic, like, and it's like a very coordinated like look.
Thank you.
But your look before this was also like, I would say it was slightly different, but it was all very put together and unique.
Which time? I've died a lot. Remember, I'm kind of old. I'm 32 now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that I don't know, like you seem to be putting effort into that. And I was wondering if that is like, when that happened, did you also like, do you use like Kanye's done this, and I don't compare to Kanye, but like maybe I should, but he like goes through different eras and he like fully commits like his like aesthetic, his personality. And so is that a self-image change? Like, do you use your clothing and your appearance as like pivotal
now, 100%,
moments?
It's a weapon. I round into new eras, and if I'm in Austin, I got Cowboy Rob, and there's been an Alien Rob at some standpoint, you know.
So explain this to me, because have you read the book Psycho-Cybernetics?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
Of
I'm like,
course.
is this like that's why I'm asking you all of this. Is this like a thing that you've like leaned into where you're
Yeah, I
like,
think it's incredibly powerful.
could you explain? Because you're like someone who's doing it
Yeah.
very visibly, and that's
Like, I'm all in.
really cool to me.
Yeah.
And so I would love to hear your thought process behind
Like,
that.
I spent $70,000 of a permanent diamond in my tooth.
That's so kings, and your teeth are
But-
fucking sick.
But psycho-cybernetics is that idea that like confidence in who you are like comes from looking at yourself, you know. And I wasn't that building genius. That was an afterthought. It's been a something over the last 3 years where I say, if I want to be that guy, or I want to be like a pop culture icon or a billionaire, or like all these goals that I don't yell about but might have written down, well, I need to continually become that, and I need to invest in that. And those need to be we talk about investing all the time, like putting money in the S&P 500 and this and that, but where's the investment in yourself? You know, like where's the investment in the gym? And it almost sounds cliche, but I don't want to talk about it. I want to literally be it. I want people to go look at Rob from 2 years ago, and I want you to take notes on financial success and visually what I look like and all of that. And I want you to see that. And then I want people to understand that playbook's real. And the more you focus on, I call it life maxing, but you take that scorecard of all the things you like. Fashion's unique to me. Like I love it. I don't think everyone should, I think a lot of people shouldn't give a damn about it, but you all have your unique things that you do love, you know, whether that be guitar or whatever. And you focus on developing those components of your life, and the returns I think are unmatched.
But do them intensely and consciously. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, with intention.
Like literally make a scorecard. Like fashion right now, if Lil Yachty's 100, like where am I at, and what do I need to do to get there? What do I need to learn? What do I need to?
So it doesn't matter what or why, but if whatever it is, do it fully, essentially. Is this something that's conscious for like personal branding? Like, I didn't know if you were like, I'm going to be on camera, so I need to be like identifiable.
Yeah.
Was it like when because you kind of pivoted into this personal brand game now too, as not pivoted,
It started
but
as
added.
that 3 years ago. Just I was in Puerto Rico in my $15 million house, and I'm getting no TikTok action. I bought these Tom Ford glasses because I'm in Puerto Rico, and I yell about people they're not going to be multimillionaires in crypto with my glasses, and it goes crazy viral. And I'm like, Since then, I've probably bought, you think, Audie, 100 different pairs of sunglasses. Probably spent $100,000 on sunglasses since then. But that was like my first kind of like understanding that visual component really matters. People love to say how you look doesn't matter. It's what's on the inside. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. But the cooler part is you can 100% influence and control that, right? Like I still, I mean, cool, the teeth are one thing, but like I hit the gym like crazy. Like I spend time like worrying, like curating these things, crafting these things. And
During that lull, after that period, you tried 2 more brands? Is that like?
yeah, I started 4, and actually 3 of them failed. One of them was like an investment, so I don't really like.
Yeah.
chalk that up.
It's
And
not
the other
onto
was
you.
Top Shelf. Like Top Shelf wrote it out through that time period, and now
So what's your thought process? Because like I also have had like 18 different businesses, and there are periods. It's so interesting for me to look back because I'm like, I was so delusionally like sure about that one being the thing, and was so bought into it, telling everybody around me this is going to be a huge deal, all in on it, and then something else pops up, and that, how do you allow yourself to like your ego to take that and then to move on to the next one and then equally get as delusional about that one? What were you doing in the lulls is like my question, I guess.
it's that failure. It's when you feel sick that you lost, or you're not who you thought you were. Those are the moments that actually shape you. And you go through enough of those that you almost start looking forward to them. Like you almost walk through life like, you know what, everything's just an up and down. It's another test. As long as I'm strong, as long as I'm like, but this is what dictates everything between your ears. Like happiness comes from your mind state. Like if a loss is a lesson, you're good. You know, and the stronger you train yourself up there, the more routine all of this comes, and the more you know to seek out the good things. And so getting delusional on new ideas, it'll always be there, but I'd say there's a level of understanding that hey, look, like I'm older now. I live and learn. Like, you know, like the first time it happens, it's demoralizing.
Have you found the way you think when you were like 23, 24 being like very like outcome focused or like material focused, and then now that you've gone through the spiritual phase, like did you think that more stuff, I'm curious as how your mindset shifted after the spiritual phase, or how your approach to life? Like right now I'm like much more like, have you heard the Surrender Experiment? Have you ever read that book where you just like, you kind of like just agree you're not in control, and like you have like you intend to be in this direction, and just
that's great,
things are going to work.
We're not.
Like things are just going to work out for you basically.
Yeah.
Like do the work required to succeed, but like don't think your analytical mind's going to predict every single step.
No, exactly. You look at, so it wasn't really from my spiritual time, but I had a experience a couple years back where I thought I was going to like have a long battle with cancer. Like I had a melanoma cut off my ear, and it was jarring. Cause again, you're that like health freak. You're this guy like, yeah, health, like you're not going to die young. And then I had a pretty real flirt with disaster, and that sent me down a long thing where the outcome, where I came on the other end of it, was, wow, this whole thing is a plot that we can't see. And the more you're in tune with that, this is kind of the spiritual side, but the more you surrender, the more you're quiet to it, you realize you can kind of see it unfolding and even influence it sometimes. It's when you resist, it's when you fight it, it's when you want some other plan that's not already there, like entirely not over there, that you become unhappy and you lose. You know, because think about your life, like the moments that brought you here, how you found YouTube, how you're friends with, you know, whoever, and they're so random. And they're
Exactly why I'm here.
They're so fluky, right? You want to know how I know Jimmy? Well, Jimmy, probably the single most impactful person in my life over the last decade, but financially, like life, all of it. I met Jimmy because a deep fake went viral on CoffeeZilla with Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman. Do you remember that? It was all over internet history, right? You make a video on it? A lot of people did.
No.
But that was someone who was working for me with Top Shelf, with that brand. And
oh, you're talking about the deepfake AI Joe Rogan like ad promoting a supplement. Yeah, you guys did that?
That was my supplement.
Good marketing. Bro.
And Jimmy was the person that retweeted it. And I don't know Jimmy at this time. I have no idea who this kid is. He says, holy shit, you know, like AI for supplements now? How is this legal? First comment, an attorney. It's not. I'm watching this thread, 30,000 views. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I'm like, all right, it's going to blow over, right? Halftime, it's at like maybe 200,000. Like it's bad, but it's not like, you know, it's not going to ruin anybody. CoffeeZilla retweets it. 20 million views within the next like 24 hours. CoffeeZilla's reaching out to me. He's going on to Rogan. It was this whole thing. I'm like, damn, this company's over. Our rep going to take a little rip here. Like, this ain't good, you know? And it was like a genuine, I was trying to do that affiliate system with people, and someone spun that off. And
so one of your affiliates did that.
Yeah, and it didn't sell any product. It genuinely wasn't like I mean, the numbers on the business were what they were. I wasn't making like good money. Like it just, and
interesting.
And that fluke, you know, goes viral. Jimmy retweets under the thread, well, if anyone actually wants to learn how to make money on TikTok without deepfakes, hit me up.
Nice.
And so I did. And had no idea who the kid was. And if that sequence of events didn't happen, my life would probably look dramatically different.
And at that time, that was probably like a horrible thing to happen in your mind.
Sickening.
Yeah.
Like I'm on the phone with the attorney, my attorney on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm like, man, we got to talk to Rogan's people. Tell them sorry. Like Huberman's tweeting on the thread. I never said this. I'm like, damn.
How'd they find you? How are you even associated with it?
Yeah, I own the company. Like,
so they could just okay.
Yeah, I wasn't
it.
secretive with it.
Yeah.
And so, like, obviously that was kind of the message too. It's like, okay, well, if he would have, you think he okayed this? Like he's, and so shout out all those people involved. Like Huberman, great guy. Rogan, great guy. Like
So you had to talk to them and like cleared it up. Like,
yeah, like we donated to Huberman's like charity, like charity or
Whoa.
something. They were cool. Like they were like, show us, did you make money? If we made money, they're gonna take that money.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, this is the numbers, and like,
all because you had an affiliate program and affiliate saw an opportunity to use AI.
Rogue, yeah. It was a horrible deepfake.
Yeah,
It
so
really
bad.
was. It wasn't like good.
But it was like in the time where that was really popular, and it was like
That was the first, bro.
and it was like honestly smart.
Yeah, it was the first.
If you could do that, that'd be the smartest thing to do. But yeah, super legal.
So yeah, that all went down. But that's my point. It's like after that moment, I felt like there was a whole new level of trust in the universe and less care about money. It's kind of funny. Like the less I've cared about money, the richer I've gotten. The more I've like been willing to go all in on experiences, different people, buy gifts, like really just invest in life. The better it's gotten, and I feel like that inherently comes from trust in fate, like whatever that might be.
God, however you want to call it. Yeah. So that I just want to go back to that because I think a lot of people, we hear these stories on these podcasts, especially if people don't know anybody that goes on these podcasts. You're just like an everyday person in Kansas where I'm from. And you hear someone say that sounds like a really oh, that's amazing for this guy. He made that video go viral and then he met his partner. But like, I think people fully grasp how unfun that month was for you. And then you had no ability to see that this Jimmy Farley guy that you replied to was actually going to turn into what it is right now. At that time, you just replied to a tweet totally out of your mind, and you're going through whole-on crisis. This company's over, like literally probably one of the worst times of your life for months, day in and day out. Anxiety, you have to reach out to these teams, uncertainty, are you going to get sued? Like very, very not fun 1 or 2 months, I'm sure, or a week or however long.
Bro, I mean, really a brutal 2 years prior to that.
On top of the 2 years, yeah.
Like it was really just, I had the health thing, and I would say what started to shape everything. That's why I can't tell you exactly. Like people say, oh, that's foo-foo, that's stupid. But I got through that, kind of cancer scare and realized like I want to live life, and I'm tired of being this guy that wants to be super frugal and sit on money. And I was like, Jing, my wife, I haven't seen the world. Like I can go spend $50,000 on a vacation. It's not. When I sold Genius, I didn't do anything with the money for like 2 years. Like I had like a Model X, and like a $2 million house in Issaquah, and I don't know. I was trying to figure out how to be rich. I was scared to lose it, and it was very strange. And then something broke in me where it's like, okay, I could literally be dead tomorrow. Let's go spend that money and go stay at the best hotels in Italy. And so we started like, my parents, I come from we have conditioning from our parents.
Of course.
And I come from a very, my dad grew up with nothing. And so that was like drilled in me. And so they'd call it frivolous. They'd call it stupid. And I was like, fuck it. Like, no, we're going to go see the world. Like I worked hard for this. I could be dead tomorrow. And, or cancer could come back and like, I could live an entirely different life. So let's hit it. And it was when that shift happened. That's when I started buying nicer clothes. Like I stopped worrying about those things. And slowly, I think that's what attracted the better things in my life. Like actually, and this is a double-digit millionaire saying that who, is very analytical. Like I went through all the wealth protection stuff of like risk and, how to properly manage a portfolio and all of that. And then I was like, oh, fuck it. Like let's.
Money is energy.
It's energy, and it's something that can be exchanged for a better life, for better experiences.
And those experiences could introduce you to one person that makes you 100 million.
And that's the shock that people don't get. The more you're fluid with it, the more you're abundant with that shit, it goes out, it comes back, and your life just keeps getting better. It's not like a good economy right now, and we've been like balling for there's better deals on the fashion, and I really believe that, but it's hard. It's hard, and I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into it first. Like people need to separate themselves from, it's that like cliche self-help stuff, but really like separate yourself from the down energy, separate yourself from the friends that aren't going anywhere. You know, like start taking care of yourself to a respectable level. Start having respect for yourself. Like hit the gym. Like those are all the things. And then the second you do those, you get motion. But the problem is they want the motion immediately. Nothing happens immediately. Like you expect because you went, you know?
It's almost like the universe is watching you and rewards the effort.
It does.
And they put the next carrot in front of you and like to see if you'll
because you're stepping
take
into
the
who
right
you're
action.
supposed to be.
And then if you resort back to old ones, it's like killing momentum and then downward trajectory.
Exactly.
And if you like reinforce that behavior, it's what you get. Like the universe is a mirror. Yeah.
Exactly. You're stepping into who you're supposed to be. And then the further you get into that, because even at the highest level, you'll get pulled back. Like shit just happens.
Yeah.
But when you're really
that's a
in
test.
that,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're like there with fate. Like time's damn near not real. You're like, oh, I achieved that. I can actually see it. Like that's how that was supposed to be. I was supposed to get my wife here. I was supposed to, like you're so in tune with it.
And so then when something in the bad happens to you in the future, you just like laugh and you're like, all right, like this is
If
for
you're
some
conscious
reason.
of all of it 100%.
You have to trust
Yeah.
that that's for some reason. And there's some lesson here that's going to get you to where your self-image is saying you want to be.
Yeah.
As long as you made that mental decision. That's the perception you have to have or perspective you have to have. Could you point back to when you were going through those 2 years for like the failed cookie company to what the lesson was with that business that then resulted in what you're doing now? Like what you gained from that?
The health stuff is what made those matters zero. It's that Naval quote. It's like, what is it? Show me any.
Your incentive? Oh, no, that's
No, Naval has one. It's like any dying man only wants to be healthy.
Yes, I know exactly.
Something like that. I butchered it, but it was that. It was like none of this business stuff matters. You know, I'm 28, 29. Like it'll sweep away. People won't, like, who cares what other people think on it? What matters is I'm healthy and have the opportunity to live life. And so that added. I've had so many layers of perspective added on top of just general business, right? Like real shit happens. Friends die. Like. Those are the moments where you kind of go, okay, this is super important and I love it, but at the end of the day, I want to be living life a certain way. And so if I'm doing those businesses and not liking my life, I shouldn't be doing them.
So then would you think about yourself? This is where I get so in my head about stuff. Like if you were 22 again, is this the correct advice? Or is it the point that when you're 22, you're so hungry for it, but you have no hard skills? And so is that the luxury that you get to once you have hard skills? And that by the time we were both 26, we both had accumulated a lot of hard skills.
Yeah.
So then we were like, so is that, that's what I'm saying.
I think you need those hard skills. But I'm still understand. I don't buy into like the balance and the seasons or this. I'm always curious and I'm always trying to learn new skills and I never want to get old and I'm learning from younger people. That's been one of my biggest advantages. Like I accept I'm not the young kid anymore. Like I can tell you more about TikTok business than most of that generation, right? Because I'm curious and I'm constantly developing hard skills. You can do those things. Now, when you're 22, you have literally none. So you need to sharpen something fast. But I look at these kids who come into Jimmy's Creators Corner and they develop that first skill and they make money. And this is kind of our whole philosophy with all of it, right? Okay, now put that money out there in the universe. See what it does for you. Don't take your eye off the ball. Keep working, keep thinking bigger, but don't be afraid to move to Miami. Don't move to Miami. Terrible place. I hate Miami. But that philosophy, they have to get some hard skill, but once you're kind of on that treadmill, you can do it all. That's the life maxing MO.
So it's like such hard advice to take on the internet because it's like there are wrong things to spend money on, but spend it. It's energy. Use it to move forward in momentum as long as it's directionally where you're trying to go. Take the risk 100%. But I guess with what I was talking about with the cookies and whatever these examples were like, is there a tangible like lesson that you learned with that?
Yeah.
No, but it's a good answer. But is there an objective? Like, can you look back and be like, there was a lesson in that business that I learned, or a perspective or a strategy or something that you like actionably used now that is key to this business?
Yeah, I chased things I didn't give a shit about. I built those brands. Gosh, I'm full of cliches. I built those brands for money. I thought keto was super trendy. I didn't give a fuck about keto. I knew it would die out, and I thought I could just catch the wave. I learned that unit economics really matter. Like you can make 60% margin, but if it's $2.50 a bag, that doesn't work on the internet. And so I preach that from a tactical perspective. But there's something to be said for having a level of care, interest, and passion in what you're doing. That's so cliche. Like people are like, I want to go where I make money. But you can make money and do something you like. Like I can build a company. Like I'm way more interested in Evil Goods from the branding, from all of it. Like I just am. My partner, the $600 million one, you know, like he loves the pet space. So when he's invested in one of my supplement businesses, he doesn't give a shit. But when he's launching his pet venture, you see that fire ignite. And when that fire's there, you're amplifying your learning, you're amplifying your growth, like all those things, right? That constitute a day. If you're going through it half-ass, you're not getting better at the speed that the guy is whose heart's on fire.
Right.
And so that was the mistake there for me.
That's the Naval quote, like do what feels like play. What looks like work for others feels like play to you, or something like that.
And that's why I love this stuff now. I genuinely like love it. I know I'm not the best, but I know I've learned a lot, and like I've just seen my growth in 2 years of this, personal branding, content, versus trying to pick up other skills that I don't care about. I progressed zero. Whereas this, it's like, oh, what constitutes a hook? Like what you wear the different sunglasses, and it's like you get those reps in, and that's how you become something.
It's like do what gives you energy. See, I feel like the cliches are actually like what you need, but you have to experience it firsthand to then understand the data compression. Where if you learn the cliche first, it's like do what gives you energy. It's like, okay, I'll do cocaine.
But that's why I'm doing this, not the cocaine. I'm not doing cocaine. But that's why I'm doing this. It's because you can't tell people shit. You can't. People don't listen, but you can show them. When you look back and you see the video of like, oh, this was Rob, 3 years ago, and then you see me sell a company and live another one and live this certain life, that's when people go, oh. And I realized that when I sold Genius. I told you I didn't spend any of that money, right? And no one took me that seriously in my hometown. I didn't know it. Like I think they're like, oh, successful entrepreneur or whatever. And then I go buy the crazy house in Puerto Rico and start talking online 2.5 years after I sold my business, and people are like, this guy's something. But you can use that as an inspiration for others if you do it right. And that's what I hope to accomplish.
What experience did you have that actually, because that probably showed you personal brand.
Yeah.
Like you had $30 million or whatever it was.
And no one gave a shit. Yeah.
And probably didn't believe you. But when once you started showing it, they're like, it's like undeniable. Or like what experience did you have that made you see that personal brand was the thing that you want to do?
That I actually wanted to do it. I just enjoyed it. Honestly, I enjoy every component of understanding. I think it's the opportunity to communicate at scale, like to the masses. And I think there's something really powerful in that. I think you see it in political, discourse, and I think it's one of the best talents you can have. So that drew me to that world. Just the skill.
So right before this podcast, right before we hit record, you said that stuff about Mark Cuban. Like, but you think these people now that are doing the personal brands are like going to be how we perceive like Elon and Mark Cuban, all these people that are like the 40, 50-year-old like big boys, PayPal Mafia, all those guys. Yeah. How we perceive them now. You think that the people who have personal brands now will be the equivalent in our generation in 10 years, 20 years?
I think whenever you combine enterprise and media, I think you have a real shot at something lasting. And that was Trump. That was Cuban. Like, the
broadcast.com or
no. Cuban sold a company. He was a successful entrepreneur and then went into Shark Tank. And got the media. And Trump was whatever he was, and then The Apprentice, right? Then he was a TV star. And so you look at, like, we don't watch TV anymore. We watch YouTube. And so if you're doing this properly with the real enterprise component, some people in this space will become the future voices of that.
So is that perspective of documenting and like stating what you're doing publicly on purpose, or just like literally being in the public eye and then people kind of know you're the TikTok shop CPG guy? Like
I don't see at the end of the day too, no one knows Mark Cuban is we know broadcast.com, but the average person knows that's the successful business guy that owns the Mavericks, right?
The Mavericks, now it's the Mavericks,
even though he sold them, but I mean, Trump, similar deal. Like, no one knows. That's a whole nother case, I guess. But
it's on the hotel.
It's just the ability to inspire and entertain people. However you do it, that's kind of the beauty of it. We don't know exactly. Like, didn't Hormozy just mess around with like a docu-series, like Meet the Hormozis, like something like?
Yeah, that was like on their channel at the bottom, like the Hormozis, right?
Yeah. And so we have that ability. I just believe I want to create the world I see in my head, and I know the components of it. It's like if you entertain people, they will watch, right? Or if you inspire people, they will watch. Like if you're, I draw a lot of inspiration from music, and you look through kind of what makes like an artist successful, and it's a lot of those pieces with a certain image. And so if you can bring those components into some form of media, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, live streaming, while still having those actual credentials, I think there'll be some very strong household names over the next decade, because this is how we grow up, right? This form of media.
And it's kind of accessible and like a land grab in theory, even though it's kind of mature. It's still kind of early for this space.
It's shifting to that level, right?
100%. What have you learned from artists? That's interesting.
Oh, I draw most of my stuff. Like my Instagram is largely based off Drake.
Yeah.
Like it works. Like every component of Drake for visibility and personal branding, and from the stuff he wears to, he's the guy that played this last decade perfectly in the Instagram era. Like he just, from picture posting to collabs to all of it. And you go, if it works in that domain, it'll work in another. And artists are some of the best marketers in the world. Like
it's kind of no different. Like their business is the music and the masters and the concert.
That's the product.
But their personal brand is Instagram and their perception and the stories and the PR and the rumors getting told around them.
And now we're shifting into this TikTok era where like that'll be different than Instagram. Now it's like who can tease the songs, who can go viral, who can do multi-channel distribution,
Dances,
what we're doing with products. But what we're doing with products works with music. If we had 50 creators who could do 50 dances that, that could go viral, you could have a #1 best-selling song on all platforms. It's a fundamental shift of the world across the board.
So in theory, everything's a personal brand.
Everything, I don't know if I'd say everything's a personal brand. It's just information is being disseminated in a fundamentally new way. And every time the ground shifts is where all the opportunity is. Like, Tate. Tate leveraged exactly what we're doing with product. And he became, Tate's message isn't new. Tate's persona isn't inherently that new, right? Like guys like Ric Flair were around like it's a likable thing. We know there's a market for it, but it was that manipulation of information, how it's disseminated.
And there's no gatekeeper on who can distribute that.
Exactly. It's a beautiful time.
In your control.
It's a beautiful, it used to be Hollywood. It used to be TV network. And all of a sudden, if you make something fucking dope enough, you can be whatever you want.
But you have to be in full control of that and creative enough to do it.
And have the balls to just like,
and have the balls
put stuff out there, right? I put out a lot of content that like flops, but that's what you have to do.
I mean, the hardest part is that you're going to say something now in 6 months you're going to have a completely different opinion. And then the exposing niche of YouTubers are just going to.
Hey, that's no issue for politicians, I never said that. Sir, it's right here. No.
So, but luckily we'll have. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what I was going to say. We're going to have that excuse in the future, which I'm actually so excited for. Not because like I need it, but just because like imagine being in the 80s or 90s, like, or 70s, like just being able to be yourself and not have any worry. Now you go to clubs or anywhere out in public in LA and people are just like afraid to have fun because everybody can record it. Yeah. So maybe AI will give us that freedom back. That's my thesis. That's my hypothesis. And we'll check back in 10 years. Or it's the worst thing ever. And there's cameras detecting everybody, but who knows?
We all are AI and just gone. Yeah, we'll see. Terminator.
All right. Well, your YouTube channel, you like came onto the scene really strong, and your YouTube content is like super informative. You're probably like one of the most like actually like credible people to be teaching, especially you're teaching your actual domain of expertise and not selling some sort of like productivity course or anything like that. So shout out to you for being so open about it. Shout out to you for giving everybody the blueprint. It's nice that when we talk in this podcast that you are just literally sharing the best practices that you've learned through 10 years of failures. Like you exactly how you said the last two examples of cookies and the other one before that, like choose a product that you're happy with. Make sure your margins are high enough. Those are all lessons that you learned and you just internalized it in the first 45 minutes and just gave us the objective correct path and exactly what's working right now. So anyone watching this that wants to do a physical product business, you know what you need to do. Now let's go do the work and risk failure and learn. But
absolutely,
Rob, huge props to what you're doing, brother. Thank you for coming. Anything else you want to share? Any platforms, where can they find you?
No, just I appreciate it. Rob the Bank on Instagram, Rob the Bank on YouTube. And I have a new thing I've been saying. It's like if anyone wants to thank me for any of the information I put out, just go get rich yourself.
Oh, that was sick. Hell yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.